Well, how's it going, everybody? This is Carpo, and this is the third video I've made this morning, which was the actual original video I wanted to make, or intended to make. Yesterday, I was going back through some of my old stomping grounds as far as mental thoughts and ideas, and listening to a Manly Hall episode, or a Manly Hall lecture, sorry, and it kind of tied into everything I was thinking about. I'd been thinking about, it started out in the morning, and so I wanted to cover a bunch of different bases on this, a bunch of different considerations that I've had. The list that I made, which I always take notes, but I have a book just full of notes that I've used to cover various videos. I don't use the notes when I'm making the videos. I write the stuff down so in the future I can go back and say, this is what I was thinking at that time. And it started out with this idea of playing God. What happened was, I was watching a video on YouTube, I think. It was a TED video or something about, can we reconstruct the eye? Can we grow eyes? And they were talking about a fish in the ocean, which can regenerate its rods and cones. And they were saying, what can we learn from this fish to help regenerate human eyes? And it got me thinking about abortions. I know that that's totally off the cusp there, but that's not just that, but like stem cell research, all the things that we do where we're interfering, which one may say, you're interfering with, God's work or God's will. And I started asking myself, like, okay, so are we these perfect creatures as we are? And, funny that a Family Guy episode was on last night that I didn't even realize was so in tune with this. It was about a family who had a kid, and he went to stay with the Griffin family to hang out with their kid. The kid fell down and he passed out unconscious at their house, so they took him to the hospital. When the parents came to the hospital to get the kid, they said, oh, thank you so much, but you shouldn't have taken him to the hospital. They said, why not? And they said, oh, because we're Christian Scientists, and we believe that God will cure our kid, that we don't believe in modern medicine. And in the end, they made their point by saying, Lois Griffin asked the lady, she said, well, so you believe that God answers prayers? And she said, yes, well, that's why we pray to God. And she said, then is there a possibility that maybe vaccines, medicine, and all these inventions are God's answer to man's prayers? And the people said, well, maybe, it's possible. In other words, humans aren't interfering with God's work. Humans are picking up where God left off, if you want to use God as a term. As if we're giving the consciousness, and it's kind of like, you got to put in some effort, and we have the world around us to use to our advantage. Why would we suffer when we can, solve many of these problems? But what it comes down to often is we have more time to grow if we have less time to worry about dying. And so that leads me into what is growth and what is integrity. What is life purpose? I'll start off by saying, why do people assume thinkers live a painful existence? I've been told by various, usually Christians, and they'll say that it must be nice to just be able to believe what you want. And I said, no, it's actually very painful, but it's not a painful existence. In other words, people who have a belief system will tell others who don't that I used to be like you. Your mind will wander and you'll go crazy and you'll never be happy until you find this God or this belief. And we come up with ideas like reincarnation, and you ask whether or not you are here for a purpose. And my question often comes to whether or not this purpose should be an independent purpose that we create, or if we are fulfilling some previous life or something that we should have been doing. But I would never just say, well, I had a previous life as this, so I'm doomed to repeat it. In other words, we live this life with only this life's memory. So regardless of whether or not we reincarnate or not, the universe hasn't provided us with that memory. So it's obvious that we're here to live now. What is a genius? What is a fool? You know, these are the questions that go through my mind. Am I a genius, or am I a fool? Am I somewhere in between? Is a deep thinker a fool for merely wasting his time thinking? Is the ignorant man the genius for just living his life? These are the questions that we ponder. You know, how much effort do we put into learning about things? That's a very independent thing. This part that I wrote down here is integrity/compromise. And it was something Manly Hall said. He was talking about integrity, and he said, we're working towards an integrity. But every single person who has integrities and values will compromise that integrity depending. It's kind of like every man has his price. You know, no, I'm not going to take that $5 bill I found. Oh, but there's a stack of $10,000 laying on the ground. That's different. Maybe I'll keep that, or, you know, and then we start creating justifications. And for the things that we do when we know that they go against our usual values. Everyone compromises values once in a while. The one thing that Manly said that really got to me, he said, integrity alone fulfills natural desire. The following thing that I wrote here was, if you try to be happy, you're sure to be unhappy. But if you try to be right, you will live as close to happiness as one can get as a human. And I cannot disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. If you're forcing yourself to try to be happy, it means that you're denying that balance. If you want to be right, you have to be right. Not right in the sense that I'm right, you're wrong. In the sense that this is what is right. This is the right way to live for me. And another thing I wrote down here, it says, man can live in this world, but not the opposite. In other words, you can embrace this 3D world, you can utilize the things that are given to us, you don't have to deny or, completely resist temptations, but you remember that you can live in this world, but this world cannot live in you. Only you. You stand apart and separate from materials. When you close your eyes, all those things you own mean nothing. So, I guess the question comes is, what is the best that we know, and do we want to live better? And as individuals, we have to answer this question. Altruism comes up. Altruism, the desire to help others, you know. Anyway, what it comes down to is, I guess, that it's what does life want from us, not what do we want from life, and that gives us our path. So I'm going to end because I got to go. There's two types of stress-free people, and this is one thing. There's the people who are too ignorant to realize that there are things to stress about, and then there are people who have already been through the stress, which is the kind of person I am, and has learned to manage it and cope with it. So anything that the world throws at you, you can handle. I'd prefer to be the latter, because it means that I've been aware and I've seen that anything that comes my way, I'm able to handle it. Nothing's surprising me, nothing's shocking anymore. And I bring on life's challenges, you know. So integrity to me means meeting life face to face, not denying my natural desires and instincts, yet not letting them consume me and using them as justifications to do what I want. So I think that's about all I got, and that's really pretty much sums it all up. If you could be anything, what would you be? If you could do anything, what would you do? And that's the big question the individual has to ask himself. If you could do anything you want in life, what would it be? Anything. I mean, no resist, you know. And a lot of people, I don't even know if I have an answer for myself. I don't know what I would want if I could have anything, because I pretty much have everything I want right now. I don't want the answers to life. I don't want to figure out where, you know, everything comes from or who God is and all these, you know, I don't need the details. Although it would be nice to know a few more things about maybe an afterlife or what happens so we can prepare for that or know that we're living. Really, your heart will tell you. And your intuition is your best friend in this. So hopefully your intuition is functioning properly. And hopefully mine is too. Take care, everybody, and have confidence in yourself. have integrity, work towards values, don't beat yourself up. Just be the best you can. That's all you got. Peace and love.